Hello, everyone. This is Demetrius with Demetrius Dowdell Success Academy. I am here to bring you another very informative video. This is video number 8 of the Healthcare Business Coaching 101 series. And in this particular series, we're going to be combining tips number 7 through 9, which we're going to entitle Legal Affairs. So if you're not familiar with what tips I am talking about, then before you look at the coaching series, you want to go back and look at the two-part series that I did on starting a healthcare business for free. Those were some tips that I offered you. It was a total of 10. I broke it up into 5 tips a piece. You can find both of those on my YouTube channel, Demetrius Dowdell Success Academy YouTube, and you will be able to catch up and understand what tips I am talking about that I'm coaching you through. So this is actually video number 8 of the coaching series from those original 10 tips. And as I stated, we will be looking at the legal affairs, and that's going to combine tips number 7 through 9. So that leaves us one more video, actually. That leaves us one more video to finish up the coaching series, which we will finish up on tip number 10 in the next video that I post. So, with that being said, I don't want you to forget to subscribe and make sure that you cut your notifications on so that you can get all of the notifications whenever I post new material. And don't forget also to go to Demetrius Dowdell Success Academy Facebook page. And also you can like our Facebook page, and that way you can be updated with any events that we post, any events that's coming up. We have a lot of things actually that are going virtual. We have our 3-day live courses. We have free information sessions that we're registering for. So it's some exciting things, that's coming up, and I don't want you to miss out on finding out about those things because you haven't subscribed or liked our Facebook page. So with that being said, I wanted to jump right into the video, and I will leave all of my contact information in the description below so that you can have the contact information, any additional information that you may need to know in reference to Demetrius Dowdell Success Academy. So with that being said, our objective, as always, is to provide you with key tools or skills to organize your 10 tips on starting a healthcare business for free. And that is the main objective of this particular coaching series. Now, at the end of the at the end of the video, usually I give you a homework assignment. So in video number 7, your homework assignment was to purchase a notebook or journal. By now, you should have that. I don't know how many more times I really need to stress that. You do need a way to be able to keep up with your business information, whether you're doing research for your business, whether there's motivational things that you want to include in your business. But it is a way to start to stay organized within your business. And the only thing that you should be journaling in that journal. I prefer journals, but if you're a notebook kind of person, then hey, have at it. But the only thing that you should be keeping in those journals or that notebook is information that's pertaining to your business. Okay, it's information that's pertaining to your business. Anything else in there is going to be absolute distraction. You don't want to put anything about your bills, your kids, your spouses. You don't want to put any of that, appointments. No, you don't want to put any of that in there. That is what your calendar is for, to help you stay organized for day-to-day activities with your calendar. But your journaling for business, which this is what I'm referring to, your journaling for business. That should only include things that are relative to your business, because again, this is a way to stay organized within your business, but also this is a motivational tool to help you really get motivated and moving towards your goal with starting your own business in healthcare. So that's one of the things. That's why I feel that it's important for you to either purchase a notebook or a journal when you're really starting out and you're journaling your success in your business. And it's a way to be able to measure your milestones or your growth process on how you've moved throughout phase 1 to the next phase of your business. Now, with that being said, what we're going to look at today is a couple of things, and this is going to come from the perspective, of course, of getting your legal affairs together when you're looking at starting a healthcare business. So one of the things that we want to look at is naming your business. Now, please understand, I know it's exciting when you get ready to name your business. You want to, get your name out there. You want to make sure that people give yourself a business name that people is able to recognize. When you are looking at your business name, you want to make sure that this business name represents what you are doing within your organization. Now, with a healthcare-based business, as I've stated before, owning and operating a healthcare business is a lot different than owning and operating any other type of business, because healthcare does have its own language, and it works the same way with the healthcare-based business. The healthcare-based business has its own language, and it is really regulated. That's a little different than your other typical businesses that that doesn't fall in the healthcare category. Well, because we fall under the healthcare categories with the 4 type of business models that I assist with coaching you with, or provide you information on, these 4 senior care models falls under different regulations, and it is different from state to state. However, the foundation is similar, or pretty much the same. So with that being said, we do have to be mindful in a healthcare type business when we're naming our business. We also have to make sure that it falls under the appropriate regulations for that business. And let me give you an example of that so that we are clear. If you're looking at, let's just look at the 2 agency models, which is the Homemaker Companion Company and the non-skilled home health agency. Now, when we look at those 2 models, one of those are regulated under the as a home health care agency. Even though you don't provide skilled care, the non-skilled home health agency operates and is regulated under home health agencies, okay? So with that being said, the Homemaker Companion Agency is not regulated as a home health care agency. So when you're opening a Homemaker and Companion agency, the name home health care cannot appear in the Homemaker Companion Agency. It cannot appear in there. And in most states, it is probably going to be the same. You do have to check with your state's regulatory board to make sure that it applies in that state. But for certain, in the state of Florida, we have to be mindful that if we're starting a Homemaker Companion Agency versus a non-skilled home health care agency, there is a difference to even how you can name them. Okay, so that's one of the things I wanted you to be aware of, and give you and provide you with an example, and that's just one example of how a healthcare business, due to its regulations, how it could affect the name and how you name your business. And so I wanted to, make sure that we point that out. So it has to be the appropriate name that represents the type of services that you're going to provide. Okay? or what your business is about. Now, the other thing is to conduct a local business search to make sure that you are not duplicating your name within your county or your city. Okay, that you're not using the exact name that someone else has. This is very important before you actually name your business and register your business name. You need to conduct a search on that name to make sure that no one else has already taken that name and is operating under that name. If that name is already taken and someone is operating under that name and it's an active registered name within your city, then that's going to be a problem with you trying to now come and open another company under the exact same name. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be approved because it's going to come back as a duplication of a name being used. And of course, seniority, the individual or the organization that has the name, that has registered it properly, is going to be able to continue to use that name, whereas you probably won't get approved to do business under that name within your city or your state. Okay, so you definitely want to conduct a name search for that before you move any further. The third piece of information that I want you to consider is to make sure that above all else, professionalism. Okay, you want to be able to I want this process to really be something that you take pride in. I want this process to be fun with creating your business name, because it is exciting when you're creating these names and creating things and getting things ready for that big opening day. But I also want you to understand that professionalism is key. So when you are naming your business, please make sure that your business is a representation of you, the owner. Okay, your business is a reputation of you, and it's a direct reflection of you. So you want to be mindful that when you are naming your business, please keep it very professional. Okay, in that manner, so that way when people do see your company name, and they do look at what your brand is all about, which is your core values, when they look at those two things, they're able to say, oh, okay, all right, I know this particular name, it stands behind its name, it's the quality of services that they deliver is on point. These are the type of things that you want to be able to stand up to and feel good about representing your company, because it's professional all the way from the name to the services that it gives, that it gives and provides. Now, something that I want to point out that's a little different when we go into this next piece is, I'm going to take my time and explain this, because sometimes this can be a little confusing. But even though you are registered to do business within your state, you also have to make sure that the way IRS views your business is viewed in the correct category, okay, for taxation purposes. Now, let me make my disclaimer right here. I am not an accountant, okay? I am not an accountant. I do not profess to be an accountant. That's why I have an accountant, to be able to handle my affairs when it comes to IRS, because I do not play with them. So I have an accountant that does handle my taxes and anything that I need in reference to the when it comes to dealing with IRS. So what I'm going to do is recommend the same to you. I am going to recommend that you hire a professional accountant that can help you with these things. Now, what I'm about to explain is on a very basic level of how starting your healthcare business and how IRS is going to view your business as an entity that's doing business in your state. Okay, so this is going to be very basic at the core, at the basic and or the surface level. But I do recommend that you hire an accountant to go into more details and help you better understand your tax breaks, your tax purposes, and your tax write-offs. They will be the individual that will be able to help you with that. Okay, so now at our very basic, IRS is going to look at and tax your company in three main categories. The first category is going to be a sole proprietor. The second category is going to be if it's an LLC, which is also short for limited liability corporation, and the limited liability company, or also known as an LLC. And then the last one is going to be an incorporation. Okay, so let me go back and repeat that. IRS is going to look at your business from the perspective of, and for taxation purposes, if you are a sole proprietor, a LLC, which is a limited liability company, or an incorporation. Okay, so I'm going to give you a basic breakdown of each one of those categories on how the government, IRS, Uncle Sam, whatever you want, whatever term works for you, but how IRS views your company from a taxation purposes and from a legality purpose. Now, as far as the sole proprietor usually indicates that this company, this healthcare company that you're going to start is, and I'm just referring to the healthcare company because that's what we're talking about. This is across the board for any company that you start. But right now we're talking about healthcare companies, and that's my focus. So if you are starting this agency or either one of the group homes, if you're going to start either one of those and you're registering as a sole proprietor for taxation purposes, this is usually one individual. One individual owns the company. IRS views you as one individual from a personal level, one entity combined with from a taxation level. So what I mean by that is there is no separation between you and your business. IRS look at you and the business the same. There is no separation. You are it. You are the business. Okay? So it does not separate your personal assets from your business assets. Okay? Now, the pros to that is, of course, it's one owner. One owner, no one else owns. You are it. Okay? Now, the cons to that is that it, again, like I said, it offers you no protection. There's no protection between your personal assets and your business asset. From that perspective, from that legality perspective, you are as one. So if there's any legal issues that come up within your organization, there is not going to be a difference into someone going after your personal assets versus your business asset, and the question being, can they even touch your personal asset? Well, there's no difference between the two of you in the eyes of how you have it set up as a sole proprietor. So from that perspective, then you have to look at, do you want to run an organization that is so litigious, such as a healthcare organization, under this particular type of ownership, and the taxes can be a little bit higher. For the self-employment taxes, it could tend to be a little bit higher, just depending on how your state taxes. Again, I am not an accountant. You would have to find out more detailed information when you seek a professional accountant to be able to explain it to you, all the ins and outs when it comes to how it's going to be taxed. Okay. So in this one, you assume 100% of the liability, personal and business. Now, when you look at the limited liability company, which is also known as an LLC, this does have characteristics of an incorporation. Okay, it has the characteristics, meaning that that it does offer you some limited protection between you and your personal assets, and recognizing your business as its own person and its business assets. So from an IRS perspective and from a legal perspective, it looks as your business as it is its own person. Okay, it's that entity is like it in the eyes of them is looked at as like an individual person. You have you over here as an individual personal, your personal self or the business owner, and then you also have this other person over here, which is in the form of a business and some type of organization you have. And so when they look at when IRS looks at the differences between the two, it sees the business as its own entity. Okay, and it does not, from the legal perspective, it offers you some protection there where it doesn't cross over into your personal assets. So if ever you are sued or someone tries to come after your personal assets, there's a stopper there. Whoa, wait. This person has a business. We're doing business under this business name, this business entity. So this is where where we have to stop and draw the line, so that we look at making sure that we are looking and taking under consideration what the business is functioning as and the assets that it holds versus what this individual person assets is. And that's where it offers you some protection. Now, there are things that you need to be aware of where you don't ever mix the two, so that your personal assets and your business asset, there's not a line that's crossed there to where you're not, mixing the two to where there's a gray area. You definitely don't want to do that. And that's why I'm encouraging you to hire a professional accountant to be able to help you stay out of those gray areas and keep your personal assets, on the personal level, and keep your business assets on a business level. Okay. Now, some of the pros to that is where this limits, again, your personal liability. There is some limitation there where it separates your business from your personal assets. That's the most benefit from it. And then the con here is that it's a little bit more taxes in some state than the regular incorporation. Okay, and there's a whole nother bracket of how it's taxed. I'm not getting into that. Not even going to try to explain it, because again, not an accountant. So, but there can be higher taxes that can be associated with LLCs, again, depending on your state. And also, depending on your state, it could be subject to additional self-employment taxes. Okay, so just a little bit of understanding with the pros and the cons. And however, again, it does allow you to form partnerships. And this is great for someone that's looking to do business with either other partners or doing business as an organization. Some of the other type of healthcare organizations, if you're looking at expanding, your company or your growth, and so that you can look at forming partnerships with these, so that it's spelled out that each individual partner understands their percentage in the business and their contributions to the business when it comes from the perspective of when it comes to legal issues, and when it comes to how taxes are going to be paid within this particular LLC. Now, the last thing is The corporation, the corporation is a legal entity that is completely distinct from its owners. So whereas the LLC offered limited protection, a corporation definitely separates the two. It separates the two. Personal assets is personal assets, business assets is business assets, and it completely, without any gray area, without any limitation, completely separates the individual from the corporation. The way IRS views a corporation, it views it as, again, it's its own person. Okay, it's its own person, and it does business, make decisions as its own persons. So every decision that is made, for tax purposes, every decision within the organization, it only looks at the organization, not the individual or the person that owns the corporation when it comes to tax purposes. Again, we're talking about for tax purposes and how this organization is looked at from the legal eyes. Okay, and so some of the pros with this is that the company itself can enter into contracts. You as the individual, as the owner of the business, as a person, you don't have to mix the two. When you own a corporation, you don't have to mix the two, because the company itself can enter into its own contracts. It's like it's as if it's its own person. Okay, and it also can own assets, means that your company, whatever your incorporation, whatever your incorporation owns or buys, it stays within and is looked upon as the owner, as the corporation, not you as the individual. Okay. And the other thing about it is that, again, there are gray areas in some states where you want to be careful you're not mixing the two. So you need to do business, keep everything in line. Business is business, personal is personal. Okay, and you don't want to go crossing those assets and going into using the same accounts. Again, that's a whole nother subject for an accountant to review with you, but you do want to be mindful of the gray areas, and you don't want to step in those gray areas, so that there's never any confusion on whether there's a separation between you or your company. Now, the one of the cons to having a corporation is it is excessive tax filing. So there is a lot of tax filing. There is a little bit more expectation, is a little bit more paperwork that goes along with owning a corporation. There is a little bit more regulations that is, on how your state regulates the things that you must satisfy as being the owner of the corporation. And again, that's outlined once you set up the corporation, and it's also an accountant can help you better understand these things once you hire one and consult with one. Okay, now the thing that I can say is, when you do look at a corporation, there is of the three, when you look at comparing the three types of entities, the thing that I do want to say is, by far, I think the corporation, if you're really looking at expanding, if you're really looking at having multiple businesses under one umbrella, I didn't say, wait a minute, let me just be clear, don't put all of your businesses in one basket. But if you do want to look at multiple businesses being owned by the corporation, and you want to look at branching out even into other states, or because hey, who knows, I don't limit small businesses. Small beginnings, please don't overlook them, appreciate them, and grow from them. So if you are looking at and you're dreaming big of expanding your business, or even looking at expanding into another state, then I would say the corporation is definitely the way to go, because it really gives you better opportunities to be able to grow and expand in other territories. And also, it also helps, again, clearly define the difference between your personal assets and your business assets. And because we are looking at starting healthcare businesses, I can tell you this. I want to make this very, very clear. The healthcare industry is very litigious, meaning that unfortunately, someone or people can be looking at suing at any time. Okay, they don't have to have a reason to sue. We're just in one of those high risk areas where there's always a lawsuit somewhere in the in the making. Don't let that discourage you, because that is where, this is getting off topic just a little bit, but when you put systems within your organization, when you're operating your organization as you are supposed to operate your organization, when you're keeping up with your regulations and any changes, and making sure that your company is changing with those regulations, then being sued should not be a fear. You can't stop anyone from suing you. I don't care who it is or what you own. A person has the right to sue you. However, you don't want to give them the opportunity to prove what they're claiming as your negligence. You don't want them to have the opportunity to prove that. And the way you just give that to someone, just hand over, free money to someone, or just hand over your company to someone, is when you're not looking to grow your business. You don't have systems in place that helps you grow your business, that help you understand, the changes with the regulatory systems, or, that's going on through healthcare, and it's always wise to hire a consultant, hint, hint, me, to help you with these things. But seriously, to help you with these things and to help you understand and put processes within your business so that you can make sure that you're operating to the best of your ability. Okay. And if you live here in Florida, like I know, it is very litigious. So if you are looking at any one of these three models that I just went over, corporation and an LL or an LLC is the two best options when you're looking at owning a healthcare based business, because it does allow you to have the separation of your assets, your personal assets versus your business assets. Okay. So it gives you that opportunity where there's some protection and there's a barrier between you and your business. And with it being a healthcare business, I would highly recommend that between the two, LLC or the corporation, those would be the safest of the three options to be able to operate a healthcare based business. Okay. Now, with that being said, that was a lot. With that being said, I want to look at credentials. Okay. I know that we talked briefly about this, and I just wanted to say the four models that we basically talk about, the four senior care models, which is a Homemaker Companion Agency, a non-skilled home health agency, an adult family care home, or an assisted living facility. When we look at those four senior care models, you technically, to be an owner of any of those four organizations that I just named, you do not have to have a degree, or you do not have to have a background in the healthcare industry. However, I am not saying that you don't need to grow in advance and be wise about obtaining education, whether it's through workshops, whether it's through certificate programs, or whether it's through you going back to school to further pursue your degree. Okay. I am a firm believer and if anyone knows me personally, I am a firm believer in education. That is one of the highest of my priorities. Okay, I believe in being educated, and that doesn't mean that you always have to go and sit in a college classroom. Okay, however, I do believe that college is good. Okay, I do. However, what I am saying is that you do, as an administrator, you do have to be and remain knowledgeable about the type of organization that you are running. You need to understand what you are running, what you are operating. That's the only way you're going to be able to grow. And my goal is to see every individual that wants to start a healthcare type business or senior care model business. My goal is to see every last one of them succeed. So with that being said, you cannot enter this market thinking that you're going to just come in and just not have to learn, not have to open a book, not have to seek help, not have to go through a workshop. You're not going to be successful. I can tell you that now. You're not going to be successful in this type of industry if you're not willing to be educated, to go get educated. And again, whether that's through workshops, whether that's through reading a book, whether that's through going back to the school to further your education, I am for all of that. Okay, but at a minimum entry level, you need at least a CNA certificate. Okay, that's at minimum. And when I say minimum, that is the very beginning phase of stepping into opening this type of business. The reason I say that, let me be very, very clear. The reason that I'm saying at minimum, because when you are going and talking with families and you are going out marketing your business, if you're not able to speak the same language, okay, that the family is talking to you about, the type of services that they're seeking you about, and the type of care that they need for their loved one, if you can't speak the language, then most likely you're not going to land that client. Let me give you an example. If you have no idea, you let's just say you used to work at a daycare. Let's just say you worked at a daycare and you worked at a daycare for years, and you decided, you know what, I want to step into the healthcare business. I want to get one of these healthcare businesses, start one, because I really think that I can do it. Fine. You absolutely can, because you don't have to have a specific background to start one of these 4 senior care models. And you had no type of certification in healthcare. You never even worked anywhere in healthcare before. Absolutely know nothing about healthcare. And you start one of these businesses. You go, now it's time for you to start marketing your business, trying to get clients on board. And you go and you sit down with the family, and the family is telling you, you know, well, mom, really, we're looking for a company to come in and help mom with her personal care, and, you know, to kind of help her with her ADLs. And you're sitting there, ADLs. What are ADLs? Okay, activities of daily living. Okay, what that individual is going to need, such as their grooming, such as their toileting, their dressing, different things like that they're going to need assistance with in order to be able to remain functional and be able to maintain and live in the environment that they are currently in at that level of care. Okay, so when you're sitting there and you can't relate anything to that this family is talking about, at the very bare minimum of understanding even what ADLs are, that's going to be a problem. And you're going to run into issues, and you're going to miss being the opportunity of being able to gain clients because you have no clue. And yes, you must meet your families. You must talk to your families. You have to market yourself in this business. So when you're sitting down with them and you have no clue, most likely you're not going to land that particular family as accepting to do services, provide services for them, because you don't even know what they're talking about, and they can tell, because a lot of times family do their homework before they even search you out and even give you a call. They do a little bit of background about your company and who you are. So at minimum, to be able to understand the language, to be able to understand what you're even remotely getting into, it would be wise to at least enter the market with a CNA license, a certified nursing assistant. That way you have the basic understanding of what a client need when you're talking about providing senior care services, either in the home or in the group home setting. Okay, so now if you do have a background in healthcare, such as a nurse, such as, in any parts of the nursing industry, that is always a plus, because again, at the bare minimum, you know exactly what the families are talking about, and that's half the battle. And being able to help coordinate the different services that is going to be needed, and in order to be able to help your company be successful. Okay. It is important to educate yourself. Again, I am not saying limit yourself there. I am not saying don't go back and further your education. By all means, I'm telling you, you are going to be a lifelong learner, and it is very much so. The more you know, the more knowledge you have about what you're getting into, about the background of your organization, about the background of your industry, then you're going to be that much more successful, because you're never going to stop learning. The day that you stop learning and filling yourself with knowledge in this industry, the day you prepare to close your doors, because you're not going to be successful. Owning a healthcare industry is a commitment to being a lifelong learner. Okay. Now, with that being said, that brings us to the end of the video, and we do have homework to prepare you for the next video. And for your homework, here's two things that I would like for you to do. The first thing I would like for you to do is to think about and create your business name. Think about, what you're going to do, which business model that you're thinking about opening, and think about a name that really fits you, your organization, and what your core, the core values of what you're trying to bring to the table to assist clients in their families, okay, in their journey on maintaining their current level of health and their current level, helping them to be able to stay either in their home or transition to an assisted living facility. So think of a name that fits you and your core values. The second thing that I want you to do is decide if you want to assume 100% of the liability, which is at the sole proprietor level, or do you want to be able to transfer that liability and decrease your personal liability by forming an LLC or a corporation. Okay, so think about those two things. Sole proprietor, you assume 100% of everything: personal assets, business asset, 100% of the liability. With an LLC or corporation, that either decreases your personal liability or transfers the liability over to its own entity, which is either done through an LLC or a corporation. Okay. And so the next video, the final video to this series, which will conclude and close us out off of tip number 10, we are going to look at mentorship. Okay, so get ready and get prepared for the next video. I will leave all of my information in the description below, so you can if you have any questions, or if you you want to drop me a comment, please feel free. But I'll have all of my contact information in there. And I'm excited. Don't forget to do your homework. I'm excited about the next video because that's another thing that I love, mentorship. I love growing, expanding. I love it. So until next time, be safe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.